Ok, so Thelial é português, mas por causa de meu ligeiro sotaque em inglês, ok? Obrigado. Okay, I only want you to remember one thing tonight. Thelial, a biotech company, finds cancer drugs using the power of the fly. No more, that's it. Thank you very much. Cancer is horrible, okay? Cancer is the second biggest killer in the developed world. We can treat a lot, but not everything. I'm going to convince you tonight that the fly, the little fly we have on the bottom right here, is a good way to do this. And this is to discover drugs. We discover drugs by taking a lot of different compounds, 10,000 different compounds. We put them into the top of this funnel, and we eliminate and eliminate and eliminate. The top blue question, we might ask a question in computers. Does it fulfill our requirements? If no, fara. If yes, a green question. The green question might be in cell lines. Until finally, after 10 years, $800 million, we bring a drug to the market. So all of these questions are done in what we call a model. Now, why the fly? Well, you've heard of mice and so forth. Flies, they look very different, but for a biologist, they're 70% the same as humans, okay? They're very quick. They reproduce in a month. They're very adaptable, and we don't have ethical problems. I think that answers itself. Okay, great. So they're a very good system. Are we the only ones using them? No, we're not the only ones, but we are unique. Why? Well, our competitors do an experiment. The experiment is cheap to do, okay? What is the bottleneck? The bottleneck is this, and this is a microscope. You do the experiment, great. You then have to read the experiment. Not easy. It's a bottleneck, and basically, looking down a microscope is expensive. Thelial is easy. Even if you have problems with microscopes like myself, it's a yes-no answer. It works, it doesn't work. There's no in-between. So what does yes-no mean? Well, for a company like Thelial, yes-no saves time and money. So how do we fit that into a business plan? What are we actually going to do? Thelial is a drug discovery company. It's a startup, but we have big ideas. And the idea is to develop drugs towards the clinic, towards treating humans. Now, if anybody wants to know how far we'll get, I'd love to talk about it later, but it's a bit specific. What are we going to make? Am I going to make tablets? No. We produce intellectual property. We produce information saying this compound is a good candidate to move forward, okay? Right, the idea is that we sell this information. What next? Well, cancer, there's not just one cancer. There are hundreds, unfortunately. We will then move on to our next candidate. Okay, biotech is expensive. We've done the first bit. This was the science. No science, no biotech. The science works. This was paid in part by Biocan Ventures, but in large part by my colleague, Roy. Okay. Now we are completing more experiments with the kind support of Inov Capital, and we've nearly finished those, ready to move further, and this is when it gets a bit expensive, and we're in negotiation, but I'm glad to hear from volunteers who'd like to pay for this, towards the scale-up. Can we do this on an industrial scale? Will cost roughly 250,000 euros, sorry to put numbers, and take 18 months. This is still cheap for biotech. The final step is no longer cheap, but I believe I can convince you in more detail that it's worthwhile doing. It will take us 3 years, and it's worthwhile from a financial point of view principally for these reasons. Cancer is a global problem. If you get a drug, it's worth a lot, and we can calculate the risk. We can calculate what we're worth at the moment, our net present value. And that leaves me to say, muito obrigado a toda esta gente, porque nos ajudaram muito. E, então, obrigado a Ignite. Deus, bom dia.